from the ministry 2018, I was in the ministry from 2015 to 2018 as a technical advisor to the minister. And we left the project with MTC to roll out 524, and the budget was allocated to MTC. And there is the current tower that they are currently rolling out right now. So that's additional to ICT infrastructures that they need to roll out in terms of mobile. So just a bit of information for that, so that you also have a clear understanding of where the ministry has been. For the past years, I wasn't there because the ministry has changed, and then the colleagues carried on at MTC with the project. The topic is similar, the same. I did remove some of the things that may concern to me as an academia. I'm from IUM as a Director of ICT Services, and also partly contribute to the ICT faculty at the university by teaching. What I'm going to cover is ICT infrastructure itself, my content on regular service disruption, what causes service disruption in the country, and what are the major causes and how telecommunications companies and industries are going around it to provide service and to ensure that these regular disruption don't occur. Much free services, zero rating services, and free public Wi-Fi, and also liberalizations, licensing, and ICT dedicated budget, and the other aspect of the domain, the country domain.ma. So just a brief to give you a definition of what is an ICT or digital infrastructure. It's computing system, data storage systems, advanced instruments and data repositories, visualization environments, and people, human capacity that are all linked together by software and high performance networks to ensure that there is improvement in research output, industry productivity, social economic developments, which will also enable breakthroughs that perhaps not otherwise were possible without the use of ICT infrastructure. So that's basically the definitions. There are various, many of them. So I chose that one just to give you a highlight of what they are. And the types, common components of digital infrastructure, as we know, we do have hardware, which is physical things that we can touch, servers, computers, laptops, and network cables and switches. And we also do have software. And this is the most critical thing today. You can have software. If you don't have enough capacity in your servers and your hardware, you still have nothing to do. If you don't have software applications that enable you to process or to run or automate your routinely manual process in a business for it to run smoothly, then you will also not achieve anything. So, and apart from that, the people that you also have must be capacitated to make sure that they use appropriate and adequately ICT infrastructures and software systems to make sure that the processes and challenges that are in the community are well understood and desired solutions are provided. In Namibia, mostly we are concerned of the network capacity, internet per se. But this all has to come from telecommunication companies because they are the sole providers of network in the country, specifically telecom, that is basically the owner of the backbone of the network in the country, and most of the service providers are running on telecom infrastructures. Cable, which we call WAX, it's 5 terabits per second. That's 5,000 gigabits per second. Now, from Swakopmund to Windhoek to Kahanja to Oshakati, Katima, Railroad, you barely have 40 gig per second. That's a limitation already. So the end users, if you divide the so if you divide the end users that are using the network, it already limits the speed to certain megabits per second to end users. And end users capacity is 25 megabits at the maximum you can get your household, and only if you have fiber connection in your neighborhood. And it costs you about 2,500 Namibian dollar, which is very expensive. um, so that's the capacity we have in the country and the capacity we have alongside our ocean. So we are not using or utilizing that capacity in the sea. So the service providers on their internet download capacity, as we have them in the country, as you can see on the table there, we are ranging from 2 megabits per second to 17 megabits per second. So, and this shows that now we are comparing megabits to 5,000 terabits, 5,000 gigabits. The margin is very, very high. And that's why in world ranking, the capacity of download compared to other countries in the world is between 50 to 60 megabits per second. That's for end users. And within Namibia, we are very low, less than 5 megabits per second. Worldwide, we are ranked 114 in mobile network capacity on fixed broadband and 150 on the fixed broadband. So in Africa, we are in the 30th, but we still want to be there, or we have to improve. So in order to improve the capacity of our network, so we need our telecommunication industries with the help of the ministry to ensure that there is specific budget to it, there is appropriate infrastructures in place, and for you to have appropriate infrastructure in place, you need to have experts that understands the task and challenges the country faces. From my topic now on regular disruption, what mainly causes the regular service disruption in the country is that our telecommunication companies have old infrastructures. They are aging and they crash based on old technologies coupled with a lot of bundled subscription to license also that are expensive. Power failure, theft of batteries and solar panels. This is activities by end users also. Server crashes, hacking. These are mainly less occurrences in the country. Network theft infrastructure of stealing copper wires. In some instances, when thieves go to a cable, they found out it's fiber, they just vandalize because it's not copper. They found out it's fiber or something else that they are not able to get money. So that's vandalism to the industry and it causes disruptions. And in some instances, it takes longer days because some of the network are main highways for the network between towns. And for one telecom company to run around the perimeter to see where the damage is takes time. So, and that's also one of the things that distribute to service disruption. And in most cases, we do also subscribe to highly expensive license subscriptions that we pay. I think in terms of zero rating services, telecom offers, for example, zero rating internet services in critical infrastructures and emergency services. So for you to call certain ambulances, hospitals, we do remember during COVID there was telephone links or lines that were provided for free to dial if you have any incidents. All those are going on the cost, either on the government or the telecommunication industry themselves. So currently, we also have a research hub in NAST and UNAM for high performance computing that is given by Telecom 1 gigabits per second free of charge. That's also one of the things that the telecommunication industry is offering. And additionally to that, the exchange of our data currently through telecom, they are being hosted and exchanged for free. That's between licensed operators in their host, the Paradise Park and Telecom Center headquarters. Free public internet Wi-Fi, this is something that is lacking in the country. We don't have public internet or Wi-Fi that is free unless you go to UNAM or IUM or NAST, but you also need to subscribe. If you are a guest, you are given a certain limited amount of time so that you can use the internet. So, but in township, in many countries, you go to town center or in suburbs or in transports like public buses, you get free internet Wi-Fi. But in Namibia, it's very, very lacking. And you find also probably in most gathering restaurants, you go there, you can get free Wi-Fi. But there's nothing much one can do in a restaurant rather than eating or having a conversation and drinking water. Yeah. So the aspect still remains, even though telecom and MTC offers certain packages with free data, it's still kept and is still limited to compare to other countries or to other global players. In certain economic situation like Namibia, countries that are in the same level of economic positions offer more than what our telecommunication industries are offering for free. In terms not free, but you pay for a certain amount and they give you additional amount of data to use and utilize for your needs. And the main thing that still remains is that the speed is very slow and the amount of data that you are getting is very low and you still have to pay more money. In terms of now rolling out infrastructure, there are certain constraints also that are experienced by MTC, telecoms, and other license operators, which is limited to access to land, environmental impact assessments. That's one thing for the process that takes longer. And these are the activities that CRANE and MICT need to take or come together and establish a certain committee that will look into the development of or ICT infrastructure development and environmental impact assessment that the telecommunication industries are facing. Without, as I said, abduction to laws and standards, because these have to be all considered in terms of having proper infrastructure in the country. The major aspect that now causes expensive internet, expensive network coverage is license, cost of license, software licenses that telecommunication industries are using. So there are multiple softwares that they are using, counting from accounting, finance, HR, all those need to be paid. Billing systems that they use, they need to be paid. And these accounts now to end user to pay for these bills. And with that in mind, telecommunication industries need to look into models on how to improve and develop in-house capacity or skills. In brief, what we have done at IUM is that we also had similar situation where we subscribe to many licenses, firewall, other applications, VPNs. But what we have done is do away with those license subscriptions and focus our fundings to other proper adequate infrastructures that we need, storage, additional storage that we need, and then also development of our in-house software capacities. And with this, we are doing in the collaboration with ICT faculty, where we get students, put them on internship program, and they develop the software that we need. The other aspect that is also keeping our prices and hosting services very high is the .NA. So this is a country domain name extensions that is owned privately by specific individuals. It's not by government. And it is currently associated with higher cost of domain name registration, your website hosting, more than any other country in the world. So there is no also insurance security, and it may fall in the wrong hands because an individual can sell it to whoever is willing if the funds is enough for him. So that's one thing that our country is facing or is spending. So the current ownership model has negative implications to telecom industries and to business owners to host their website and having a domain.na that is a country domain extensions. This is not only telcos but private companies also, and the hosting of services in the country that becomes very, very expensive. So here is merely the government through MICT and CREN to find appropriate legislations to explore on how to gradually take ownership of the .NA domain name extensions. And this will guarantee uninterrupted and safe services for future at an affordable rate. So in order to have ICT infrastructure or proper ICT infrastructures, as we all understand, IT infrastructures are elements that are required to deliver business services. So, and these business services requires the understanding or experts that have an understanding in the requirements of the task that is positioned before them, and also the state of challenges and the level of desired solution, as I explained from the beginning. So this will enable the country, the institution to optimize the implementation and cost of the ICT infrastructures, not to have expensive end user costs, but at least optimized to a certain way that industries should be able to offer service delivery to the people at an affordable rate. And this has to be done closely with educational institutions, especially higher educational institutions, where they need to set standards, sets of IT skilled personnel that they need, CREN may need, MICT may need. And this can only be done if there is collaboration and integrated education and industry between the academia and the industry and the government. So currently what MTC has done is they are rolling out an internship program. They provide funding for the students, which is enough money to cater for their transportation. And they offer this to any institutions that is willing to offer internship to students. So MTC pays for the students, and the students go under internship programs in various organizations at their own cost. So, and this also provides a platform where the academia, the industry, and the government need to build a set of profile that is combined with skills and knowledge required in the ICT industry. So an ICT profession in schools, in colleges, and that skill sets that are required to improve the country's economic, socio-economic development. Now, when it comes to prioritizations of ICT infrastructure, if you do not have proper planned ICT infrastructure in place, So you are likely to fall into issues of connectivity, as we have it, higher cost of internet, productivity, service delivery is not on time, security issues, people don't trust um, buying their things on internet, and also higher cost, which allows you now to spend more than what is required. And this all leads to systems that are not trustworthy, unreliable ICT services that are very costly and dissatisfaction to government and end users and businesses in the country. So in order to now have proper ICT infrastructure, what is the benefit when we have personnel, professional cadres that understand the task before them? You have the benefit of setting up IT infrastructures that are properly maintained or properly optimized. And this provides you with the provision of continuous access to website and online platforms to ensure positive customer experience, timely develops a market solution, and also enables real-time data collection and analysis for businesses and their stakeholders. And this will also enable them to make appropriate decisions in time. And this will also increase productivity to employees, provide flexible, reliable, secure, and scalable infrastructure. So that's basically the benefit of having skilled professionals that enables you to set proper infrastructure in the country. So, in all essence, as we understand, I don't know whether you are aware that the country as we don't have a national data processing facility. So this is one thing that Namibia needs: computing infrastructures, data centers in every region, at least to a capacity of a 3-tier or a 2-tier data center. So for data processing and also for data storage. So the network infrastructure also needs to change, because we are sitting at 40 gigabits per second while we have 5 terabits, 5,000 gigabits per second landing in Swakopmund. But inland, you only have 40 gigabits. So, and this when we have now upgraded our network to faster and high performance network, then we can be able to talk of basic data, big data, artificial intelligence, fourth industrial revolutions. So otherwise, if we start talking of fourth industrial revolutions with 1 megabits per second as broadband, we will not achieve anything. So otherwise, we'll just be preaching. Additionally, with softwares, system applications, systems and application softwares are required. So in many countries, we do see what is happening in Europe or East Asia, disruption of services. People are owning systems, they cut you off. So if you misbehave, you are cut off. If you are not attending to what the owners of the system wants, they cut you off. If you are not paying, they cut you off. So instead of not finding ourselves in this situation, we need to be prepared and make sure that we develop in-house systems and application softwares and use of customizations of open free source software that we can be able to customize according to our needs. Additionally, on ICT dedicated budget, so this is very much required, because currently we have budget, but it's not that to fund capital projects. And a significant amount of investment is required to deploy latest appropriate technologies. So in this essence, telecom also need to expand, because they are the one holding the backbone of the country. It's fiber backbone transmission, and the challenge to them is a constraint to limited budget or cost of capital expenditure, which is very high. Fiber to home deployment, it's not possible without budget or allocated funding. And extent of LTE to 5G leaves no room to many state-owned enterprises and the mismanagement to an extent to look for funding elsewhere. And this is also reflecting the self-sustainability that you all talk about in digital sovereignty. So if we use Google Cloud, If we are using Oracle databases, then we are obviously obliged to be paying higher license subscription every year, every month. And the service to end users will be very high. So in terms of that, ICT dedicated budget is required and should address digital infrastructure upgrade. It should also address the educational programs that are tailor-made to develop professional experts in the industry at local universities, also and abroad, and also create employment for such professionals through realization of capital projects and continuous research and development, innovation and entrepreneurship. And also develop our own secure software platforms that will host our e-services. So we are talking of EITs on whose platform are we hosting it. We are paying subscription for licenses. E-governments, we are paying license subscriptions. So, and these are the aspects that one needs to look into when you are an ICT expert in the country. From the ministry perspective, they should be driving this agenda of self-sustainability and having data sovereignty. So, just a few to conclude, the fourth and fifth industrial revolution, currently we are in fourth sort of industrial revolution, but it's ending soon. So we are talking of Internet of Things. All these need to have proper, or let me say, professional expert in the country. So currently we have few of them, and if you have to engage in a project, you will need to acquire foreign experts to realize your projects. Big data, smart cities, specific budget and accountability in the implementation of such national project is required. This is now to improve our network capacity establishment of those digital infrastructures, creation of employment platforms for higher professional cadres, establishment and promotion of funding in ICT research, development and innovation, and also establish funding platform for entrepreneurs. Currently, for software developers specifically, we don't have any platform that has been enabled for them to make sure that they utilize their skills they get from either UNAM, NASC, or IUM. So, and also enabling platform for software development in the country. I thank you for your attention.